Hey guys, what we have here is a Weatherby Vanguard, and it is in 6.5 by 300 Weatherby. It is essentially a, see on the front ring there, it's a Howa made in Japan. So what this has come in for is this gun is not grouping, it's shooting terrible groups. It kind of gets too close together and then a flyer, and sometimes it strings them. So we're going to do a glass bedding on this. The owner wants a glass bed and as well as a pillar bed. So I'm going to try something different. Got the barreled action out of the stock, and what I'm going to be doing is, so normally when you do a pillar bed, you drill out that hole massively to like 3/4 of an inch, 19 mils, and then you put in a piece of aluminium or aluminum spacer in there, and that allows the action, that part of the action, to clamp onto the bottom metal with that piece of aluminum in between, so you can sandwich it real hard, and that makes it very stable. And the same on the front one, it gets drilled out completely, and you put a piece of aluminum, a pillar in there. What I'm going to try and do is, I'm going to not drill it out that big. That hole's about 7 mils. This is 6. It's made in Japan, so it's metric. This is 6. That's 7. I'm going to drill that out to like 9 millimeters, which is nearly 3/8 of an inch. And instead of putting an aluminum pillar in there, I'm going to cast or pour a pillar with the bedding compound. So while I'm bedding this action, I'm going to let that bedding compound go down next to the screw and create a poured pillar between the bottom metal and the action on both these surfaces, and obviously bed this in and bed that in as per normal bedding. If that doesn't work, nothing stops me from drilling out that poured pillar and putting in an aluminum pillar. Got the action all taped up, and got 4 layers of electrical tape around the barrel to cover the fluting. I'm scared the epoxy is going to go into the fluting, and then I can't get it out. The cavities in the stock are filled up with epoxy because the owner wanted the stock more rigid. So I drilled out the action screws bigger. So the idea is that I'll get epoxy flowing down around that to create a pillar. Roughed up the action there just to give the epoxy a place to bind. Same with the back one. So these are soda straws that I put on just to not get the threads full of epoxy when I pack it in there. There you go, all buttered up. Now get it into the stock. In the stock, with a rough cleanup of the wet epoxy done. Now got to give it 10 hours and break it loose. After the barreled action came out of the stock with the epoxy on, this is what we got. So I wrapped the barrel in electrical tape, and you can see the kind of little lines it made, and I used 4 layers, and you can see them step. There's the one step, there's the next, and there's the final step. So I used 4 layers to give about a 30 thou clearance between the barrel and 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 the stock. The reason is for the electrical tape was, if I put this fluted barrel in there, you would get the epoxy flowing into that flute, and it's not going to come out. It's going to it's going to lock it in there. So that's why I did that. I did have some lockup on it. I put electrical tape on the front to just give a minute 7th thou or so clearance at the front of the recoil lug. But this is rounded, and the electrical tape kind of didn't want to stay, and it created a small little gap on the top, and some of the epoxy flowed in there, and that's what caused that to break out. And it wasn't a problem. I split the action in the stock after about 10 hours, and then do a rough clean and then put it back together, so it came out readily. But so the rest of it looks good. I really would have liked to be able to flow the bedding and join the front and the back, but that's not possible on this action stock combination. You got the safety and the bolt release that comes through these two spots, so you cannot get a bridge across. I mean, I could have brought that to there for no real reason, but I can't get it across. On the poured pillars, so that's what they look like. I've drilled that, I think, in 10 millimeters, and I got epoxy flowing through to there, and that's giving me a pillar, and the rear the same. I got a pillar there that's created with epoxy. So the epoxy I used was Acroglass, and then I put in by volume 20% of atomized steel, powdered stainless steel, to give it further strength, and then I dyed it black. And in the back here, that was not dyed, and this was done in two castings. That column's too long, and you can't get it to pour all the way through, so you end up with a collar and then nothing. So what I did was I did the top, and I got a collar there, but it didn't flow all the way through. I cleaned it up, and then I filled it up from the bottom again. After the bedding, got the shots down to about a 1-inch group. Now that pencil barrel heats up real quickly and then starts throwing away the shots. The circles on that target, they're about 3/4 of an inch, 19 millimeters apart. So that 3-shot group is about 1 inch. Anyway, guys, I hope you found that interesting. Stay safe. We talk again. Cheers.